Okay, Tim, well done for this image, this map. Very intriguing. I like it. I like this idea of the 13-step pyramids and the 9-step pyramids and the 7-step pyramids representing heaven and the underworld and the earth. I like the idea of that. And I know that the Mayans had 9 gods of the underworld, which would fit in with the 9-step pyramids. So some great images coming out of this map. And when I first looked at this, when you first put the video up and I watched it, it immediately made me think, well, this is 6x6, very indicative of the solar magic square, another 6x6 form image. And again, immediately the further correlation sprung to mind of, you've pulled this out of a calendar, and what's a calendar? It represents the passage of time, from day to day. And what is a day? A day is the rising and setting of the sun, and this is the solar magic square. So a good match up there, a good resonance between these two images. I did try and find further correlations. So what I did was I put the numbers in from this, put them in where you had coloured in the circles and linked up the pyramids. I put them in to try and mirror it, using the same numbers. And I did try to find a correlation there, but I haven't found one yet. But I'm sure there will be something in there that will resonate. And what also struck me in this image is the center of it. Now, I don't know, you probably have noticed, but this is very similar to a kind of swastika. Now, obviously I mean the Buddhist swastika. The button was trying to bypass the swastika shape there, just in case there's any SJWs watching. Rest assured, SJWs, I'm not literally Hitler. No, enough of that. But it is there. It is there, quite strikingly there. And I don't know if you've noticed that. You probably have. I don't know if it was intentional, and I don't know if there's a further correlation. I haven't really looked at that, but maybe you could do that and see if there's a further correlation. So in this video, what I'm going to do is just kind of go back to basics with the old original version of the monkey, the cholq'ij. I know you're a big fan of this and Barrios, etc. This is your model that you've been using pretty much since you've discovered it. And obviously I've been using this idea, this horizontal wave spells idea, putting the keys in from the previous image there when you put them in, and obviously that kind of forms this waveform, and then you can complete the waveform. And obviously in the last video I was kind of like, well, that's indicative of the numbers, what the numbers mean, what Lungold and Barrios kind of suggest these numbers are representative of, and the numbers without any keys in them are the numbers of form, and the numbers of frequency do have the keys in the waveform. And they're kind of paired together anyway, these numbers, I would suggest, even without the waveform in. The numbers of frequency, the ones between these ideas of the numbers of form, manifestation, stability, the kind of structural idea of that kind of imagery. So that was the last video, obviously. So I thought, well, in this video, let's go back to basics with this, and I'm just going to kind of start from scratch again and see what else I can decipher. So obviously you put the alphabet in forwards, goes in 10 times, with the A up here on the 1 and the Z down here on the last 13. And then when you do that, you can find the keys, obviously 10 sets of keys. And just as I have been doing with the overall kind of shape of the Tzolkin, putting the wave spells in instead of vertically like this, put them in horizontally as you have seen. I thought, well, let's have a play around with the alphabet. Let's see what we can do with the alphabet. Does it go in differently? And I kind of messed around with that for a bit, and I thought, well, hold on a minute, maybe I'm complicating it too much. So I thought what I'm going to do is just kind of drop it down, start with the A here on the 2 road. So I did that, and the A drops down to 2 road, and the keys still form. The keys are still there, all 10 sets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The keys are still there. So I thought, what happens if I keep going? So I dropped it down again to 3 read, and they're still there, all 10 sets again. So I thought, well, I've got to keep going. So let's drop it down to 4 Jaguar, and they're there again. And this kind of intrigued me. It started to make me think, well, what does this mean? So I kind of went back to the starting position, if you like, with the A up here on the 1 monkey, the kind of original idea of these keys, and put the backwards ones in, leaving the A as a point of reference here. And then I did the same with dropping the alphabet down. I put the backwards keys in. So if you just watch this A here drop down to here, you get the forwards and backwards keys again. And then as you keep dropping it down, you get this sort of dance of keys across the Tzolkin. Keys in motion. Very intriguing. Sometimes they form this kind of step pattern, which is nice. On the 7 there, they're separated again, down to the 8, still separated, and the 9 is steps again, and then down to the 10, separated again, 11 separated again. It's all very intriguing, this kind of dance across the Tzolkin of keys. Really, I don't know what it means. It must be indicative of something. Just going through it again, all the way down to 13, the keys are still there. We did keys on the A there, the alphabet starting on the A, sorry, A, B, C, D, E, and A, B, C, D, E. So I thought, well, just kind of going back to the original idea of the keys, and what I did originally with this version, and then putting it in the horizontal Tzolkin. I thought, well, just as you've done with each wave spell, balancing up the pyramid, if you like, with the Y being on the 2, so the Y would also be on the 12, and the K being on the 11, and the K being on the 3 also, E on the 5, so E on the 9, and then S on the 8, so S on the 6 as well, as you have done, balancing up the pyramid, and then you get this idea of the waveform. I thought, well, what happens when you do that with the alphabet on the 2 position, A, B, C, D, E, and A, B, C, D, E? You get the keys again. What happens when you balance up the pyramid? The K is on the 12 here, so it would be on the 2 as well. Obviously the A is there as a point of reference, it wouldn't actually be there. And then the 1 is a Y, so the 13 would be a Y, and then the E is a 6, put it on the 8 as well. But there's a 7, the S is on the 7 here, so I kind of just went with it. I can't balance the 7. Maybe it would be balanced on the sort of 1 and 13 level, maybe an as above, sol below thing, I don't know. Maybe you could help me with that. But I put them in, and then I thought, well, let's stick the waveform in, and you get this crazy kind of, I don't know, is this a triple strand of DNA in the middle here? Maybe a quadruple, I don't know. It's got like 1, 2, 3, 4 strands, just linking them all together. Pretty intriguing. this is the two-road position. So you have the alphabet starting at A, B, C, D, E, all the way forwards, and then again starting on the two muluk going back, and this is the waveform. So I thought, well, what happens with the alphabet on the third position here, the 3 reed, the 3 ben, and the 11 star? You got the Y on the 1 here, so it would be on the 13, but there's a K there. There's a K there. What am I going to do this time? There's an E on the 7, and then, okay, I can balance the S here on the 8. So I had a look at that, put it on, and put it in this, and you get a very similar waveform to the position of 2 road. This similar kind of triple, quadruple DNA strand, perhaps. I mean, I don't know if that actually exists. A triple DNA strand or a quadruple DNA strand. I don't know, but it seems to be that the 1s and the 13s are meant to be linked, like the idea of just a double DNA strand. But I couldn't do that. I can't wrap it round because I don't have the software. But maybe you could do that. Maybe you're supposed to do that. I don't know. Like wrap it round so it would be like almost like a tube thing, or maybe like a wormhole. Maybe this thing is like a time traveling device. Would be interesting. So I thought, well, let's have a look at the 4 Jaguar position. Putting the alphabet there, going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K for the backwards, and then same going forwards. Let's put that in the pyramid. So you get the K on the 13, so it would be on the 1 as well. Y on the 2, put it on the 12. E on the 6, S on the 9, I think that is. So I put that in, stuck it in this, and on the 4 position, starting the alphabet on the 4 Jaguar, you get a very similar kind of reflection of when it starts on the 1, when you put the alphabet starting on A on 1 monkey, and you get this pattern. It's very similar to when you put the A on the 4, the next number of form, as I was kind of suggesting might be the case. Almost validating it in certain respects. It's very similar shape to what I had in the last video. So that was that was a positive kind of direct hit, really. And so I thought, well, let's have a look at the 5th position. Y on the 3, so on the 11 as well. K on the 12, so on the 2 as well. S on the 4, so on the 10, and E on the 9, so on the 5. Obviously the A wouldn't be there, it's just a point of reference. So putting those in and then balancing it up, we get this kind of block, these 2 blocks. And when you put it in, you get this crazy, it's like 5-6 strand DNA, I don't know. Maybe it's just indicative of, if somebody is a 5, these are the the squares, the signs in the progression of the Tzolkin that kind of they are charged with. These are almost like burner days, perhaps. These are the days that number 5 should look out for. This is when it's high energy for them, perhaps. I don't know. It's all going to require further research, I think. So sticking the alphabet on the 6th position here, A, B, C, D, E, and then A, B, C, D, E, etc. This is where it gets interesting. This is where it becomes anomalous to the previous kind of detail. Because what we see here is the keys forming the full word spelt correctly, vertically and horizontally. So you've got the K-E-Y-S, K-E-Y-S, and then it's backwards again, K-E-Y-S, and then forwards again, K-E-Y-S. That was, I couldn't believe that this was happening, when I first saw this. And again, you've got the issue of, well, S is on the 3, but there's a K on the 11, so that's difficult to balance up, and the E is on the 10 and the Y is on the 4, so all you can really do when you put them in, oh yeah, that was the other thing that intrigued me. Before I do that, the 6 is step kind of motion of the keys, and then the 3, the 3 is the only previous one where the keys kind of go all the way across. So it's the same kind of image, the same kind of shape, the same kind of structure between the 6 and the 3, with the A on the 3 and the A on the 6. Don't know what it means. It's all going to require kind of deeper research, I think. So I put the 6 position keys in and then put them on, and there's just 2 strands this time, two DNA strands. But it's all pretty intriguing when you consider that when you put the keys in, it spells the word keys forwards and backwards on the 6th position. I don't know what it means. Is this, when it gets to 6, it's the top of the wave spell? It's that, like, the crest of the wave. So the keys are forming as they should at the top of, well, the beginning of the top of the wave spell, the crest of the wave happening. I don't know. It's all going to require deeper research, I think, this. But it's fascinating to just see this dance as the A drops down. The A's there, up there, and down at the bottom on the 1 position. And as you drop the A down, there's like this dance, these keys in motion, all the way across the Tzolkin, all the way down to 13. And you get this step idea forming as well on certain numbers. So I think what this is hinting at is that if you overlay all of the alphabet starting positions on top of each other, they probably fill in the entire Tzolkin. So every sign, every number is a key. In fact, the whole thing is a key into something. Perhaps it's consciousness. Perhaps this is just kind of serendipitous syncretism, as I was saying, because from starting at K, perhaps you to get this formation. The K, the E, the Y, and the S are they form because of the distance between forming the alphabet on a 20 system, on a 20 base system. I mean, I'll probably do this in another video just to explain it a bit further, but when you look at from K to E, I mean, K is the 11th letter of the alphabet, so that means there's 14 remaining until Z. Sorry, 15 remaining until Z, because it's the 11th letter, 26 letters in the alphabet. To get to Z from K, there's 15 letters, and then from A to E, there's another 5, so there's your 20. And then from E to Y, E is the 5th letter, Y is the 25th, there's your 20 again. And then from Y to S, A is the 19th letter, and Y is the 25th, so A to Z is 1, and 1 plus the 19 of S is 20 again. So this is why this word is forming. It's very serendipitous syncretism. I'm not sure whether it means any more than that, but when you see this kind of dance of keys happening all the way across the Tzolkin, and this idea of how when you're balancing up the pyramid, especially at the number 6, where you get the actual word keys forming spelt correctly, kind of backwards and forwards as well as backwards and forwards here, it kind of makes me wonder if there is more to this syncretism than just mere kind of chance that the numbers are 20. You get 20 numbers here, and the key to the E is 20 letters, and then the E to the Y is 20 letters, and then the Y to the S is 20 letters. It makes me wonder whether it's more than that. Perhaps it is, but all this is going to require a lot more research for both of us, I think. So that was all pretty intriguing, and this video is getting long again. Apologies for that. Boy, he rambles. But yeah, just take a look perhaps at your map again. Let's get back to your map after looking at this fantastic dance again. Take a look at your map again and see if there's a correlation here between these two between these two things, I'd be intrigued. I am going to look at it myself, but maybe you'll come up with something different, and we can compare notes on that. So let's keep this going again, Tim. Let's keep sharing ideas, trying to crack the code, solve the mystery, and that's about it from me for now. And goodbye for now.